Welcome, everybody. It's Beyond the Box Score, advanced stats from simple people. This is Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM. Make it legendary. And the question on everybody's mind, will Jonathan Taylor score 9 fantasy points in full PPR tonight? If he does, Dan Schneier and his trash talking.
Oh, no. Yeah, that team's done.
12-2. You're not done. He could have a terrible game.
That team's done. Yeah. Look, this is the life I live. This is the third team. It was the last and final team that I was first in points. This one was by like 300 points. First seed, not even making it to the finals. All 3 teams are going down. The other one faced the Puka. I told you about that on Friday. The Puka Stafford disaster with JSN. I mean, look, it is what it is. I mean, good commissioners reward leagues for first in points. Bad commissioners put none of the pot toward first in points. So this is what we live in. This is the life we live in. It's a league that doesn't reward points winners. And sometimes you can lose in the playoffs. That's just how it goes. So, yeah, I'm not having a good day. My home league, I'm literally going to lose at him because of Drake May exploding last night and Ashton Genty's random 31-point outburst against the Texans defense against me. I'm going to score 155 in my home league, which is it's a low-scoring league. A lot of points and lose.
Yeah.
And we would have beat the other 2 teams. It is what it is. It's fantasy. But I still have a little hope in that. I need Juwan Jennings under 4.3 and a half PPR. So not a good day.
You have more hope of Jonathan Taylor not scoring 9 points.
No, neither is happening. But I can blame myself for the.
I blame you too. Listen, Jacob and I were talking before the show. When you get to the playoffs and it's just 1 week against one opponent, I mean, so much of it is luck. Because I got an email from somebody who was basically saying, like, I don't want to play anymore. I want to quit. I lost all 4 of my leagues. I played against Kenneth Game. I played against Michael Wilson. He had that lucky catch. I think he may have played against Gainwell. It's like, listen, don't worry about it. You get to the playoffs. That's a big accomplishment. Seriously, it's not easy to finish in the top half of your fantasy league. You get a first round bye. That's a huge accomplishment. You get to 1 week and it's for all the marbles. It's just tough. So it's about luck. You could argue that once you get to the playoffs, there shouldn't be head-to-head matchups, that the highest scorer.
Some leagues do that.
Yeah, you could argue that. I'd have no problem with that. I don't do it, but you could say there are more fair ways to determine a winner. But here we are, and hopefully all of you had good luck today. And Jacob, good morning. How are you, man?
Good morning. You know how I am. We talked about it beforehand. I assume that's why you didn't throw it
to
me.
Sad podcast.
Yeah.
We all got hit up.
I made the semis in like 7 or 8 leagues, and I don't think I'm going to advance in any but one. And it's like the cheapest league. And then like some of my most expensive leagues where I could have won a lot of money, I directly lost myself the game. Me and my brother just making asinine decisions with our starting lineup, Jaxton Dart over Matthew Stafford. So if you're mad at me for like the Matthew Stafford concern this week, I'm right here with you. At least maybe that will make you feel better to know that I'm also suffering because of my stupidity.
Yeah, man. Well, we're all suffering a little bit. I had 4 semifinals, 5 if you include Scott Fishbowl. I knew I wasn't going to advance there. I think I advanced in 2, and they are my 2 worst teams. My 2 best teams are out, but we'll see. All right, Patriots and Ravens. Patriots 28, Ravens.
I did get one quick comment that made me smile.
Oh yeah,
it was from Shane F 2170. He said, "What's in the box score?" You got that?
You got to say it. You got to say it.
No, I'm not going to say it that way.
What's in the box score?
No, do you get what that's from?
I just did the voice. Of course I know what it's from. All right, New England 28, Baltimore 24. The injuries are really the big storyline here. We have a great game from Drake May. He scores 27.7 fantasy points, threw for 380 yards, 44 pass attempts, his most since week 1.
Great.
That was hard. How about this? Pass attempts of 20 or more air yards, because this is something he had been struggling with the last 6 weeks when May was the number 11 quarterback per game. 7 of 10 for 184 yards and a touchdown on deep balls. That is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So great for him. But the injuries, I think, guys, are really like, we don't have to get into everything. You're like, the injuries are what we need to talk about, because we got the Travion Henderson injury, he's got the concussion, and also the Kayshon Boutte injury, which is fairly significant, and of course the Lamar Jackson injury. So Jacob, Jackson's day-to-day with the back, but what do you think about these injury situations? Like, are you going to trust Ramondre Stevenson next week against the Jets, who give up the most touchdowns to running backs? What do you think?
Yeah, another frustrating thing here where it's like one of my best teams where I thought for sure I was going to win this year, lost because of the Lamar Jackson thing. I saw something in the chat that was like, I impatiently dropped Travion Henderson earlier in the year, but then this week I played against the person who picked him up. And it's just like, that's got to be just like the worst. That's where you don't want to play fantasy anymore, is if you're the person who picked up Travion and then he gets hurt and you lose because of that.
It was brilliant. He let his opponent get him and he left with an injury. It was 3D chess.
Yeah. So Stevenson, I mean, if Henderson's out, you're definitely starting him. You might be able to start him either way in this matchup against the Jets. The other takeaway for New England was Stephon Diggs. Did see his route rate spike. It was up at 80%. We've seen it spike one other time. Who knows what it'll be next week? But the last time that it spiked was against the Jets, who they play next week. Ran 80% of the routes, had 10 targets, 9 for 138. He's been playing at a really high level. He was really fired up for this game. Love to see it.
Yeah, he's another. If I'd played him, I would have won Bake Burger League, Adam.
No, I mean, I was done with him. I was
done with him.
I was in on him last week. It's like, they're playing the Bills. He was great against the Bills last week. The biggest game of the season. Why wouldn't they play him?
Right.
And his route participation rate last week was 55%.
Yep.
This week it was 80%. But the reason why I brought up the Booty injury is that his routes did increase, not to 80%, but they were pretty high in the 2 games that Kayshon Boutte missed. Another guy that saw a big increase in his role without Kayshon Boutte was Mac Hollins. So I know he's going to be tough to trust, and they threw 44 passes in this game. They could throw 24 next week at the Jets who are starting Brady Cook.
Boutte played pretty much this whole game, by the way. He ran 36 routes. Kyle Williams, the rookie, I think will play a lot more. Not that you would be going there unless you're in a really, really sick league, but just shout out Kyle Williams again, man, with that catch. Holy crap, this guy's good.
Drake May for just diming up over it. Like this is the next best quarterback. I was watching him destroy my team, and actually I saw this in the chat. This is actually even more tilting. So he had Genty, which is the stupidest thing. Watching those 2 Genty touchdowns were just beyond aggravating as I'm watching this matchup. But worse than that, he had Olave. What was the point of Shuck throwing that TD at the end to Olave? It was what was like 29-9. When I saw that touchdown, that last Olave touchdown, and I saw in the chat someone got tilted out of this too. That was the most tilting moment of my fantasy day, and I assume everyone feels that way too. They were up by 20 points. Why are they bombing to Olave at the end of that game? It was crazy to watch. Honestly, I think most of my tilt comes from the fact that now we play on sites, Adam and Jacob, that give the projection percentage. So like I'm looking at one point, I'm like an 88% favorite. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm an 88% favorite. We got this, boys. And then like you look back and you're done. You lost.
I don't know that I can remember this, but at one game I was against a team that didn't start a bunch of players on bye or whatever. At one point, I was a 100% favorite during the 1:00 games. I just destroyed this one guy.
Somehow lost as 100% favorite.
What'd you say?
Oh, I thought you meant
I won.
I thought you're talking about how the projection screwed you. And the comments are right. It wasn't even Chuck who threw it. It was Taysom Hill who threw the touchdown.
Yeah. So I brought this up on the show last night. Taysom Hill, he said that Kellen Moore basically gave him these opportunities because this was probably his last home game with the Saints. So they used Taysom Hill a lot. All right, yeah, but the Boutte concussion, I think there were about 7 routes that he did not run. But even if you look at Mac Hollins in the fourth quarter, if you look at Mac Hollins, he ran 84% of the routes when Boutte missed weeks 10 and 11. And then in this game, Mac Hollins ran 60% of the routes in the first 3 quarters and 93% of the routes in the fourth quarter. And Boutte left, again, I think there were 14 routes run or something, and Boutte had ran 7 of them. So keep an eye on Hollins in those deeper leagues. Again, we're not expecting a ton of pass attempts. Now, for the Ravens, before we get to the Ravens, one other thing. BetMGM. It's football time at BetMGM, and you still can register and use our bonus code and get an awesome offer. You're going to get instant access to the best variety of parlay selection features, no sweat and boost tokens, live betting options, and much more. And new players can receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets with the bonus code FANTASY if they don't win their first bet. You don't want to miss out on any of the hard-hitting action at BetMGM. Place your money line, parlay bets, and more today. BetMGM, make it legendary. And once again, that bonus code is FANTASY. All right, for the Ravens, Zay Flowers is on fire right now. He looks great. But if it's Tyler Huntley, I just think you know what to do, right? Like if you start him at Green Bay, you start Flowers, you start Henry, you start Lamar Jackson, probably. People might have questions about that.
If it's not Lamar.
If it's not Lamar, We're talking about a team that in 2020 without Lamar, they scored 14 points in one game. In 2021, they went 1-5. They averaged 20 points per game. 2022, they went 3-3. They averaged 12.5 points per game. In 2025, they went 1-2 and they averaged 14 points per game, but they did have a better game with Huntley. He scored, they had a big game against Chicago. 30 points they scored against Chicago. Anyway, yeah, Dan, would you start Henry and Flowers if Tyler Huntley were the quarterback at Green Bay?
I think I could start Henry. And just given the state of where we're at with the running back, we talked about this a lot last week. I don't think I could start Flowers without Lamar Jackson, though. No.
That is a Saturday game. And Derrick Henry, for what it's worth, has 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns in the last 6 quarters. He has 3 rushing touchdowns in the last 6 quarters with Tyler Huntley. So that's, I guess, encouraging. All right. And then I think that we're just going to wrap it up there with that game. We have other topics to get to, including.
I need to ask you this before we get to any of those.
Okay.
So first of all, congrats on your Canes advancing the second round of the college football playoff. What happened? Did you DVR it? And was it still enjoyable? Like, you didn't have it ruined at all?
No, I turned my phone off.
Okay.
Everybody I was around was not a sports fan, not a college sports fan. So no one was talking about the game. It was enjoyable.
Was it as because I'm friends with a few Miami fans and they were going nuts in text during the game. Was it that feeling like a regular you're going nuts kind of game, or was it like I'm on DVR and I lost the momentum that way? No, it was a cool finish. It was a really cool finish.
It was 90% of the excitement. Okay. I screamed so loud on the interception that scared my daughter.
It was a very cool finish, and your dude, that running back looked like a young Derrick Henry out there.
Yeah, I mean.
My friend said it was the first game all year he looked like that.
Yeah, it was a good matchup. No, it wasn't the first game all year, but it was a good matchup. They really struggle against physical running backs up the middle, A&M. It's Mark Fletcher. He went crazy. I think he's really,
He's awesome.
No, he's not. But he was this game. It was exciting. It was fun.
I did a lot of Ohio State.
I did a lot of fast forwarding. I couldn't sit there and I couldn't sit there and let all these seconds of stress, because I couldn't sit there and text my friends, usually you spend that time.
You're out of the moment.
This one, I just fast forwarded to the play, and then
all right. Well, congrats. And hopefully you knock off Ohio State.
Yeah, I think 10-point underdog. So
hopefully you'll be watching that game live is actually what I'm hoping.
I will. It's New Year's Eve. Okay. I will be watching there. I have no plans. We're good. All right. We'll talk about Nico Collins today. We'll talk about the Seattle running backs, Baker Mayfield, and the trends for that offense. Omarion Hampton against Houston. I went back. I watched every Ashton Genty carry. I've got some interesting takeaways. What does it mean for Omarion Hampton next week? I'll tell you this right now. There have been 12 running backs with 15 or more touches against Houston, and they averaged 14.6 PPR fantasy points. So that's not bad at all. And we'll talk about Michael Carter, who has the best matchup in fantasy next week against the Cincinnati Bengals. Programming for FFT is pretty normal this week. We're recording on Christmas. I don't know what time exactly, probably close to the normal time. And normal week, mailbag. Dan, we have to do something on the mailbag. We have a contest, me and you.
Okay.
Color blindness test.
Oh, boy.
Who will get more right? I took it this weekend. I did very, very poorly, but I might beat you. We'll see.
That's for Friday.
Yeah.
What's time for mailbag?
You're both colorblind?
Oh, super. Yeah.
Perfectly red green.
Jacob, what's Beyond the Box score looking like this week?
I was going to shout out. This is our last show, the 3 of us this year, right?
Yeah.
What a year. Another good year.
It was.
Yeah. Thank you both for killing it this year. Last week's episode was really, really good. Shout out Adam for sure. Always showing up and carrying this one for me and Dan. This week, we've got a lot to dig into. There's right now I'm actually watching while you guys talk about Miami or whatever, I was like, I want to watch these Drake London routes. There's a lot of stuff to dig into.
Because I watched
I've just getting started.
Yeah, I didn't see any explosiveness, but it was only 8 targets. What'd you see?
I'm just getting started. I don't have a takeaway.
Okay. He ran 60% of the routes, I think. Or is that Marvin Harrison? Marvin Harrison Jr. ran 60% of the routes.
Yeah, that was Mitch J. London was 83%. He had 8 targets. So everything looks normal, 109 air yards. There have been times where he's played through injuries and he's kind of been a decoy. On paper, it looks like he was fine, but he had 3 catches for 27 yards. So definitely something to dig into. Another big Kyle Pitts game. I want to know what the hell happened with Jaxton Dart. So if we don't get to that today, then Dan and I will definitely be talking about that. There was a lot. This week was kind of, I was talking to our producer before we got on, and it was like, I benched all the wrong people. I started all the wrong people. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what this week felt in a lot of different leagues. So trying to dig into that, make sense of it, and help anybody who is still alive in the fantasy championship round here.
All right. Don't empty your baggage on poor Claire. She doesn't.
That was actually mostly coming
about our fantasy.
Mostly coming from.
She doesn't want to hear this.
Mostly coming from her. But go off.
All right, listen. We'll be right back with some snap count stuff, some injuries, and our 5 big things. We'll be right back.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Let's go through the news real quick. Lamar Jackson, back injury. Gardner Minshew, likely a torn ACL. Jordan Love, concussion. Malik Willis, shoulder. They play Saturday. Shadur Sanders is fine.
I don't think.
What'd you say?
McCarthy's probably unlikely too.
Yeah, I'm getting there, buddy. I got a whole list here.
Oh, I thought you went to quarterback. Okay.
No, Tyler Shuck. No, he's fine, I think. Justin Herbert says his broken hand's getting better. He can grip the ball better. Marcus Mariota's questionable with finger and quad injuries. They get Dallas, I think, on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. Gosh, what a terrible Christmas slate. Dallas at Washington, Detroit at Minnesota, Denver at Kansas City. Just, enjoy the holiday with your family. JJ McCarthy, hand injury. X-rays were negative, but we'll see if he faces Detroit this week. Brady Cook is going to start for the Jets. He has thrown for 188 or fewer yards in all 3 games, faces New England. Running back, we had the Jordan Mason injury. I am not convinced that this is just a guess. Let's see if Aaron Jones plays this week. He played basically the whole game, but he was clearly hurt. And sometimes, you can just run on adrenaline. So we'll see with Aaron Jones. But Jordan Mason left too. Quinshon Judkins with a very serious injury out for the season. Kamani Vidal left in the 4th quarter. We'll talk about Hampton in a bit. And then Travion Henderson with a concussion. Wide receiver Devontae Adams likely out this week against Atlanta or at Atlanta. Romeo Doubs hurt his wrist on the onside kick. You got Kayshon Boutte and Demario Douglas leaving with injuries. Pat Bryant. Thankfully, Pat Bryant does he have a concussion or just a neck injury? I'm sorry. I forgot
I don't know. Yeah.
Bryant, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. And that's pretty much it. We might get Ricky Pearsall next week against the Bears. He will not play tonight. Foster, this is a crazy stat. Foster Morrow, tight end for the Saints. He left with an ankle injury. He has run 70 routes this year. When he has been on the field, Juwan Johnson has 3 targets all season. I don't understand. I have to double check my work. In fact, Jacob, can you do that? Can you double check my work? Juwan Johnson with Foster Morrow on the field. Because
sure,
Johnson had a huge game, and Morrow left with an injury.
It's true. I was excited to hear Jacob's take on a deep cut beyond the box score player coming up after the Quinshon Judkins injury, Rocket Sanders.
Hell yeah.
He looked good out there.
When I give my snaps and stuff, who's at the
very
top.
Out there. He may be a waiver claim for this week.
We had 3 Giants offensive linemen who were either out or left during the game. 2 of them will probably be out next week. At least we had
Andrew Thomas being one of them, the best player by far on their team.
Yeah, and Detroit was on their 3rd string center, and the Chargers left tackle left with an injury in the 1st quarter. Just shows you how bad Dallas is.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm seeing that Juwan Johnson has only run 18 routes on the 70 routes that Foster Moreau has been on the field for. So Foster Moreau has not played very much. When he has been out there, Juwan Johnson has not been out there very often. He does only have 3 targets on those 18 routes.
Very strange.
So my guess is that if Moreau's out, that would help him.
All right. So Jacob, snap counts, other stuff. What do you got?
Okay, Raheem Sanders, one of my favorite running back prospects at the end of the year here, is one of my favorite times of the year where you get some Corey Kiner, some Rocket Sanders, some of these randos get an opportunity at the end of the year. So I'm talking about Cleveland Browns. He could do a bit of everything. He was on the field after the Judkins injury, saw 9 of 10 running back carries in the 3rd quarter, had a 78% snap rate in the 3rd quarter when the game was a little bit more competitive. When they got where they were having to throw more, he came off the field more. So overall, he had a 52% snap rate in the second half, only a 25% route rate. Travion Williams was getting those like pass blocking, route running opportunities, but 10 of 13 running back rushes in the second half. He can churn out yards, and he's also somebody who can create explosive plays. They call him Rocket for a reason. He's a big guy. He might look a little clunky on some plays, but like he can really get going. And if he hits his top gear, it's really fast. So he's an interesting name to know. Like for my money, I would rather go to somebody like this than Audric Estime or something where it's like you need the game to go in his favor and you need him to have like 15 to 20 carries for it to be a good game. Sanders could get there on only 10 or 12 carries, and he might get 15 carries. So Cleveland Browns, name to know. Dallas Cowboys, Javonte Williams played more in this game, 57% snap rate, but saw fewer carries, 9 carries for him, 9 out of 17 backfield rushes. Malik Davis saw most of the second half work. So I think it's pretty clear that Javonte is not quite right now. Good luck if you're still starting him. It was an awesome game for RJ Harvey, but his role did scale back a little bit, which is something that they've talked about. Shout out again to Coach Speak Index. So this was one thing I noticed this week was that they wanted to get some of the other backs more rushes. So Harvey had 7 out of 12 running back rushes this week. So the role's not bad, 59% snap rate, but it wasn't quite as good as it has been. But he made some explosive plays. He looked like the guy that we've seen on film, which I think we've seen show up more and more as the year's gone on. He's kind of found his footing in terms of the speed of the NFL. His pacing, I think, has gotten a lot better. And that touchdown he had was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was.
While I'm shouting out Coach Speak Index, I want to also point out the George Pickens thing. There were 2 like clear misses for me this week with my analysis where I was very nervous about 2 players. It was Matthew Stafford, it was George Pickens, and both those guys went nuts. On the Pickens one, though, I kind of had come around by the end of the week. So sorry if you didn't catch that. But the reason mostly was that Coach Speak Index was like really positive. They were saying that like he just had one of the best practices he's had all year. And they felt really good about getting him going in this spot, George Pickens. And so we see, he just went nuts. So hopefully you started him. And I do think that's a really valuable resource if you have not checked out Coach Speak Index.
Cool.
More backfield notes. Jahmyr Gibbs, 86% snap rate and 13 targets. David Montgomery had 4 rushes, 19% snap rate. So it's like not a split really anymore. It's like he's just the backup. The Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco, 72% snap rate, 65% route rate. He got the only carry inside of the 10. He had 7 targets, 5 of which came from the third string quarterback who's in now, Oladokin. So maybe you can go there. The role is good.
Well, that's what I think of when I hear that name. Hadouken.
Yeah, Pacheco had the highest target per out run rate of his career.
Is he going to? Are Chiefs going to trot out like a Ben Roethlisberger or something for that Christmas game? The NFL doesn't want Oladokin playing in that game. Like, what are they going to do?
I don't know.
Tanner Ryu are in there.
Have Juju Smith-Schuster led the team in routes. So like I don't know what the hell they're doing or why they're doing it. I thought finally we might see Jalen Royals get to play, but no. Okay. Audric Estime, 56% snap rate, 61% of the routes. I thought that was weird. I expected that to be more of like Evan Hull's role, but Evan Hull barely played. So maybe things could be better for Estime, but they went really pass heavy. Especially like the first half, there were like 35 dropbacks or something like that, which shocked me because this team has kind of intentionally not been pass heavy, it seemed like, with Tyler Shuck. So my guess is they just kind of don't want to go to Estime. And you probably shouldn't either. But yeah, he was the clear lead back.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add to that was you had that whole Taysom Hill thing that I brought up because Taysom Hill had 12 carries. So maybe they don't do that next week and make Estime their running back. But
maybe, yeah.
Not trusting him.
He definitely played more than Hull. So if you have to go to one, it would be him. Bucky Irving played more this week. 61% snap rate, led the backfield in routes. He was only on the field for 1 snap inside of the 10-yard line, though. So again, he's just not getting in scoring distance plays. We're going to talk about the Bucs more later. Obviously, you felt it. If you started Bucky this week, it was only 7 or 8 points, and that sucks. It's just that it's tough where we're at with the role with Bucky right now. Marvin Harrison Jr. did come back, ran 20 routes, 61% route rate, just 1 catch. It was the Elijah Higgins show, which, I don't know, week 16. You love it. It was brutal. It was brutal. It was so brutal. Like, this is just the prime example where it's like, why did my Trey McBride points disappear this week? I don't know. I don't know. Like it was just,
Falcons were second best against tight ends going into the week.
yeah.
They hadn't really faced a lot of good ones. They did hold George Kittle catchless one game,
His
but
first game back.
That game was supposed to have so many fantasy points, and it turned out it was basically just Bijan and Pitts. Right.
Elijah Higgins.
And Elijah Higgins.
Yeah.
I guess Wilson was an okay start because of the touchdown.
Yeah, like 3 targets.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Last note was Tampa Bay. 87% route rate for Chris Godwin, 80% for Mike Evans. That's up from 65% last week for Evans. 63% for Jalen McMillan, which is up from, I think, 45% last week. Emeka Egbuka was at 50%. So that's pretty rough. He did have a long target that he got, and that was a great catch. And it honestly could have been a touchdown potentially if the throw was like perfect. But the role is not trustworthy at all for Egbuka right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when Evans is on the field, he had a 47%, he had a 43% target share last week. Just that's who Baker Mayfield is going to. But Baker Mayfield doesn't really throw that much. They just want to run the ball. There was actually a quote. It was a halftime report. What'd you say?
They just stink, the Bucs. They just stink.
They were so conservative in this game, right? So Baker Mayfield's one of the guys we're going to talk about in our 5 big things. But he had a season low in ADOT, 3.8 yards per air yards per pass attempt for Baker Mayfield. And they ran the ball so much, and they didn't really run it effectively because Bucky Irving's just been really ineffective running the ball this year. But I think if I remember correctly, the halftime report was about the run heavy nature. And they asked Todd Bowles if he was going to change. And the sideline reporter said, Todd Bowles said no, because we're dominating time of possession and that's going to translate to points.
Right.
And they did dominate time of possession, but it did not translate to points. So that's apparently the way they want to play. I hope they open it up a little bit more because they were just so conservative in this game. And Carolina, I think, did a good job. I didn't really see a bunch of guys like running wide open or anything. Carolina's they're 9th best against quarterbacks. They've actually been a pretty tough matchup lately.
Right.
Carolina did do a good job. That's one of my main takeaways when I watched it. Was like Carolina called a really good game.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll save that for our Baker Mayfield discussion. Can we start him next week in a must-win game for him? Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, they all played about 62% of the snaps. Remember, the quarterbacks are hurt, and Romeo Doubs has a wrist injury. Josh Jacobs only played 39% of the snaps. Chris Rodriguez, 40% route participation rate, season high. He has 2 targets this year. I had a lot of the same stuff as you. The Tampa Bay routes, the Kansas City routes, the Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt played 11 snaps. And Troy Franklin. So Pat Bryant played basically the entire game, got hurt at the very end there. Troy Franklin did run 73.5% of the routes. So that was great. A bounce back for him because usually when Pat Bryant had been on the field, it had been much lower than that. Franklin only had 5 targets. Bryant actually had 8. But in this game on Christmas at Kansas City, Troy Franklin could be someone that we're looking at here.
Yep.
I can't imagine Bryant's going to play.
Right.
He was playing more than Bryant before the injury too.
He was? That was the whole game. He played more than, he did. Yep. Yeah, he did. He ran 5 more routes than Bryant. Yeah, he just didn't have as many targets. All right. So got our big topics today. But before we dive into your 5 big things this week, a quick shout out to Amazon Prime. You need last minute holiday gifts? Prime's fast, free shipping has you covered, so you can focus on the plays and not the stress. Holiday wins delivered. It's on Prime. 5 big things start with the Seattle running backs. Week 16 was really a week of, really? Ken Walker had this big, so many surprises. And I think Walker and Charbonnet too, he also scored. He scored, and he had 4 catches. 17.4 fantasy points for Charbonnet, 25.4 for Ken Walker. This week, they get Carolina, who's terrible against the run. And Dan, how much do you trust the Seattle running backs this week?
I want to trust them. It's just the situation here. Ken Walker, to me, looks like clearly the best player on the field. And I think we've come to that point. And I feel like their offense operates so much better when he's on the field and they have such a higher chance of success. But I don't know if I can trust him. And because of that, it leads me to a situation where if I'm starting both of those players, could we easily see the possibility, let's just say that, the possibility for another game where it's like 8 points for Walker, right? And Charbonnet doesn't get the touchdown. It's possible. I think you have to start him. Like I'm talking myself in circles here. I feel like you have to start both at the stage we're at, but I don't know if I feel confident.
Whoa. You do not have to start Zach Charbonnet. No way. When this guy doesn't score a touchdown, he is awful.
But Walker, until last week, was not really used in a way where you can start him either.
You don't have to start either of them.
Yeah, I would hope to avoid both of them. I had them both ranked outside of the top 30 in running backs this week, which sorry, I guess, but that's probably about where I will land again this week.
They're the most confusing players in fantasy. This is the most confusing running situation in fantasy to me.
And it's a pretty similar, I think, situation to what we just had with Tampa Bay and Carolina, where it's like, okay, both teams want to run the ball, you know, and like that might just be like a fast game where there's just not that good of fantasy production.
I think look, obviously he could always break a big play. It could always happen. I remember texting with my buddy during the game, and he was so frustrated because he has Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet gets the goal line touchdown. And I'm like, dude, you better hope he breaks a long one. It's the only way he's going to score. And he did. So he could always do that.
He looks so good out there. That's why I want to play him. He's
the stat that kills me is he has 2 games this year, Ken Walker, with more than 60% of the running back carries and never more than 65%.
Right.
So you really need them to have one of these, 27 or more running back carry games. And then there's the passing stuff. So the encouraging thing for Walker is he does have 3 to 4 targets in 5 of his last 6 games. So at least he's giving you that. But I mean, before he scored the 2 games before this, he scored a combined 7 points. And before that, it was 10.4. Before that, it was 13.1. Only one of those.
I guess my only hope is just like he looked better, and he's looked better of late. And I feel like Seattle needs him to generate offense. That's kind of where I was trying to get at.
Yeah, he looked amazing.
Could that lead to a bigger role?
He looked amazing from the very beginning of the game, and nothing happened. Like it was still Charbonnet playing way more.
That was what frustrated me. Yeah, like when they started to struggle in the rim, like they weren't playing Walker, they were putting in Charbonnet. I was like, why? Walker's the reason you have any chance to win this game at that point. At that before Darnold started making a few plays.
Charbonnet recovered that fumble in the end zone for the 2-point conversion, though.
That's true.
But what was the call on that? Where they like the call was so good, they were like amazing effort or whatever. It was something like that. Where like he literally just walked over and slowly picked up the ball.
It wasn't. I know what you're talking about.
Boy, you are bringing up a subject that is very touchy for me.
What?
A rant that I really want to go on, but
I want to hear it. Do it.
It's not appropriate.
You have to do it now, unless it's really not appropriate. And after he said last night, I think we're past the point of appropriate.
I just feel like that game, deserved better.
Oh, it's Al Michaels. That's what we're talking about.
Better play. I mean, he just doesn't get excited anymore. He just refuses. Puka Nacua could have this incredible touchdown catch in overtime, and he's like, Puka Nacua, and there he goes. Come on, man. Someone said on Twitter, like, imagine if Ian Eagle were calling that game. Exactly. That's what we deserved. Sorry, I don't like criticizing arguably the greatest announcer in
but everybody, it's like arguably the greatest announcer. Philip Rivers is one of the best quarterbacks of all time, probably. Maybe let's not go that far, but top 10, top 15. When you watch him tonight, he ain't gonna look like that. Yeah. Like everybody reaches that point where times change.
I feel like he can do it. I mean, it's not like he's horrible for the entire game. Just when the big moments come, he just doesn't want to go there. And that game was arguably the best game of the year. It required it, It required that.
He just can't reach that level of enthusiasm anymore.
I guess that he's seen everything.
He's seen it too much.
Who cares? He's like, who cares? I did the Miracle on Ice. I don't care about this. All right, we're going to take a break. What the hell happened to Nico Collins yesterday? We'll tell you when we come back.
You can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. So even if you can't count on accurate expiration dates,
that is a rookie mistake,
or people appreciating your fashion sense,
Jim, the crowd is not on board here.
You can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
Glad we wear our good jerseys.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back. Okay, Nico Collins was someone that the people wanted to hear about. And the thing about Nico is you could just roll out a bit like, yeah, of course I'm starting Nico Collins. And that's probably what to do. But he is facing the Chargers, and they going into the Dallas game were number 1 against wide receivers. Now apparently they're number 5. But they did a great job against Lamb, not so much against Pickens. But Jacob, you said you watched the Nico Collins tape. What are your takeaways?
It wasn't the best CJ Stroud game. And that's I've been a little. So like I did a podcast with the Fantasy Points with Theo Grimminger last week. And he's like, have we arrived at Nico Collins' league winning season? You know, you're giving all this like reason to be bullish on him and everything. I'm like, no, I don't like it. All feels good. I'm psyched and everything because I love Nico, but like, I don't trust it at all to say it's like league winning season. And it's mostly just Houston, you know, like everything with Houston, whether it's line or Stroud or whatever. In this one, I thought the line actually played fine, which is kind of what we've seen lately, but Stroud's timing was weirdly off. There were 2 extremely close sideline toe drag calls that were incomplete that could have been catches, I thought. I didn't have a great angle on them on True Media here, but they looked pretty dang close to catches. And then there were 2 just like wide open misses on sideline throws too. So what did he have, like 30 yards or whatever? It easily could have been like 80.
Actually had 59.
At 59, yeah. So it easily could have been like 100, 110. Like there were a lot of yards left on the field. I thought Nico played great.
Okay. Yeah, so you think he's a must start against the Chargers?
Yeah. I mean, we just saw George Pickens go ham against them. Like they have generally done a good job at limiting perimeter receivers on downfield targets. But they also like are totally content to just let opposing wide receiver ones beat them on like quick in breaking, like slants and stuff like that. And then we did see Pickens get behind the defense too. So I'm fine going there. I think that there's a decent chance that ends up being a big Nico Collins game.
One of the things I noticed about this is not really relevant to this game, but CJ Stroud has one of the worst completion percentages inside the 5-yard line. It's unbelievably bad. And I feel like a lot of those throws go to Nico Collins. So just look at his season as a whole. Touchdowns have been low, but he's got 16 end zone. He's got 14 end zone targets. I wonder how many of those ended up as touchdowns. I'll tell you right now. But all right, we're going to start Nico Collins. He has 4 touchdowns on 14 end zone targets. Probably not so good. Okay. Baker Mayfield is our next topic here. Dan, what's your takeaway and your outlook for Baker Mayfield in a game against Miami that really wasn't that bad against quarterbacks, but they lost Minkah Fitzpatrick against the Steelers.
Right.
They've been horrible since. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was really good against them, even though the fantasy points weren't amazing. He was really good against them, and then Joe Burrow just embarrassed them. So Baker Mayfield against, I think it's a home game against Miami next week.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a really rocky ride for Baker.
It's at Miami. Sorry, at Miami.
At Miami, which is actually even better for passing. And not much of a difference, actually, Miami versus Tampa. I shouldn't be saying that. But, you know, Baker's a player that Jacob and I have discussed so much on Beyond the Box Score this year. I look at that situation, and it's like Bucky's back. Their offensive line is healthy. They have studs on the O-line. They have 2 studs in Wirfs and Barton. They have all the receivers back, Evans, McMillan, so many weapons. On paper, this should be one of the best offenses carrying us through the fantasy playoffs. Something's obviously wrong with Baker. And as we've kind of gone through the stats and the charting this season, and just, I think you brought up a stat, Jacob, maybe 2 weeks ago on our show, of just how few 200-plus air yard games he's had. This is a quarterback who, when he's killed it for us in fantasy, and when his players, like his supporting cast, has killed it for us in fantasy, he's been taking shots and taking chances and stretching the field. I don't know what it is right now. Like, I watch Baker Mayfield, and he has more off-target throws than I can ever remember from this past 2 seasons. I think there's something off mechanically right now. Maybe he's playing through an injury that he hasn't really discussed much. He had the one like wrist injury at one point, right? Or he had like a few different injuries throughout the year he's managed. Just doesn't look like he's playing good football. His mental clock is not on. Like, he's speeding up through his process.
I didn't think he played bad in this one. I didn't think his accuracy.
I didn't watch this game.
I watched every drop back
on all 22, but I saw it obviously during the broadcast.
Yeah, I watched it too. And Jacob, I think we had the same takeaway. It was like kind of giving credit to the Panthers defensively. I thought they did a good job.
Okay.
Panthers defensively, and Todd Bowles is probably getting canned. And I don't know about Grizzard, either their offensive coordinator. I've just felt like their offense has lacked juice all year. Their offense has lacked juice in terms of the play calling. And this one, it was 5.8 yard average depth of target for Baker. I thought his accuracy was pretty good. I didn't
5.8 average up target is not good though.
No, season low.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, but it was designed. Like he took a couple deep shots, fine. He made some sideline throws that were pretty much right on the money. I didn't think Evans looked like he was quite at his normal speed. I don't know on that. I don't know what to think of that because it wasn't a lower body injury that he was coming in with, so I think he should be fine. But the timing between those two looked a little bit off on a few of these plays. I like even the interception at the end of the game, like it was just a bad split second outcome where Evans cut his route and went the other direction, like improv. And it was right as Baker decided to unload it. So he threw it in the direction of Mike Evans' momentum, but Evans had stopped and turned the other way. And Baker was under pressure on that. So it's just like, I thought he did a good job of climbing the pocket, making plays when they were there. Like the play to Ibuka that could have been a touchdown. Like it wasn't a perfect throw, but it was still a really good play to even get it there. You know, like he had climbed all the way up to the line of scrimmage basically to make that throw. I thought he played pretty well, honestly. It's just like they were extremely conservative. They only dropped back 30 times. They went really run heavy. That didn't really work that well. I don't know. I think it can be better, but I just didn't. There's not much juice in this offense. The offensive line isn't playing as well as I feel like it could. They're not getting a ton of like yak. Only 38% of his yards came after the catch. The league average is like 48%. It's just, I don't know. I don't feel very good about the offense right now, unfortunately.
No, you have to wonder if Bucky Irving is healthy because you think they would get him involved in the passing game, but they're not throwing the ball to him at all. Remember, I feel like the last time he caught a ball, he took it to the house.
That's what I'm saying, though, man. That's like, I don't want to just be like, this offensive coordinator sucks because like I haven't watched every game. I can't say that for sure. But like, there's just, it seems like they're lacking creativity. It seems like defenses are kind of ahead of them a lot. I have not liked it. When I watch it, it just feels like it kind of lacks juice. And it's tough because it's like the version of this that I remember is with Liam Cohen. And it was really, really, really good, you know? So it's like really a stark difference when you compare the two.
Last note on this for me is that Mayfield, I mean, I do this every week. There just always seems to be a moment in the game where Baker Mayfield could have had a good fantasy game, but it didn't happen. And that moment, I think, was in the third quarter. He dumped it off to Rachaad White. Rachaad White gets down to the 1 yard line. And then I think of the next play, he tries another fade or back shoulder throw to Mike Evans in the end zone. And this one was incomplete. He had completed that earlier in the game for a 1 yard touchdown. This one was incomplete. And then Sean Tucker took it in. You're talking about a 28-plus point game if Mayfield completes that pass, but you don't know what happens after that. But then again, he had that interception on his last throw of the game when they're kind of in desperation mode, and Evans had the miscommunication with him. So there's been so much of that for Baker Mayfield. But this game just was boring. I mean, they were just way too conservative, and I hope they learn their lesson and they let him. I don't even think he needs to throw that much. Just be aggressive against the Dolphins, challenge them downfield and beat them. If he weren't playing the Dolphins, I don't think people would really want to start Baker Mayfield, but the matchup's going to be enticing. So I imagine he'll be a top 15 quarterback, maybe.
Here's another stat on the offense, 34% motion rate. That's really low. The average is 50%. Right. Last year was really high for them. 6% play action rate. The average is 23%. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, I don't know. It was just stale.
All right, let's talk about Omarion Hampton. Big opportunity for him. He came through against the Cowboys with 16 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown, plus one catch for 10 yards. Going into the fourth quarter, he had 10 carries. Kamani Vidal had 4. So that was a split we hadn't really seen. Then Vidal got one more carry, and that was the first carry of the quarter for the Chargers, and he got hurt on that play.
Right.
So it was 10-5, Hampton versus Vidal. And I only bring this up because if Vidal plays, I don't know the severity of the injury. If he plays next week, it's still an encouraging split. What's not encouraging is you're not getting a lot of catches from Hampton, although based on what we saw in the fourth quarter, I think you could see an increase because he was running more routes than Hassan Haskins.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that he's playing Houston. Right. I watched every Ashton Genty carry, and honestly, it might sound crazy, but Houston was, for the most part, completely dominant against Ashton Genty. Genty had a 51-yard touchdown run where he looked like he was going to get bottled up, and then he got away from it, and he took it to the house. He also had 17 yards on consecutive runs late in the second quarter. from the 22-yard line, their own 22-yard line. It was 2nd down and 19. They gave him a carry for 9 yards. Then it's 3rd and 10. There's 30 seconds left in the quarter at this point, and he gets 7 yards. Other than that, he really, most of his runs were nothing. Like Houston's run defense was actually quite dominant for much of this game. And the Chargers, I don't think they have really a great run game. So I think if Vidal's out, I don't see, Dan, how you can't start Hampton as a number 2 running back. As I mentioned, the running backs who have had 15 or more touches against the Texans have averaged 14.6 PPR fantasy points per game. But what would your expectations be for him if Vidal were out?
I think you kind of nailed it, right? Like we're going to play him. He's going to be in our lineups. I think he looks healthy. Like I don't think we're seeing any signs of the injury lingering. And the Chargers offense is actually starting to generate a little bit of offense. The offensive line maybe is coming together with all the mixed pieces on that offensive line. I could maybe get on board like a borderline RB1 even potentially, like just on that back end in that like 12 to 16 range.
Yeah. Jacob, with all the committees we have, at least if Vidal's not playing, you got to think,
right.
I think we could get a 20-touch game out of Hampton.
For sure. And he's been great. I brought that up on yesterday's live stream. I just wanted to show you the numbers real quick because Kamani Vidal has been very good. Me saying that he's been better than Vidal isn't in any way an indictment of him. But here's like the league leaders in terms of yards after contact per rush. And Vidal, you see 3.02 is good. That's 25th out of 48 qualifiers. Hampton is 3.5 yards after contact per rush. His avoided tackle rate is higher. Rushing EPA is higher. He's one of the few running backs who has a positive rushing EPA. Success rate much, much higher. Lower stuffed rate, higher explosive run rate. He's just been better across the board. He's been one of the most effective running backs in the NFL. And that statistically, and that's really pretty hard to do, I think, with the state of their offensive line. If you look at the other running backs up here in this range, like who plays behind a bad offensive line? I guess Tony Pollard, but their offensive line honestly has played a lot better in the second half of the year.
People would probably look at Achane and say that. I don't know if that's true though.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they've kind of kicked ass in the run game.
Surprise. Yeah. I think my issue with the Hampton, looking at his stats, is that he killed the Giants. And they're like the worst, 12 carries, 128 yards and a touchdown. And then he killed the Cowboys, 16 carries, 85 yards and a touchdown without Quinnen Williams, even Overshown left in the fourth quarter of that game. He didn't do much in the fourth. Well, he did. He had a touchdown in the fourth quarter. So he's had some tough matchups, like 19 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown against Denver. And he also had 6 catches for 59 yards. 13 carries for 56 yards, 2 catches, 11 yards and a touchdown against the Eagles. 15 for 61 at the Chiefs. But he's really crushed it against the Cowboys and the Giants. And the Texans are tough.
That's fair.
Yeah, but you're going to start him. All right.
Yep.
Last game or last player. Now, if Vidal plays, will be another discussion. Last player is Michael Carter. And Jacob, I think you were like, why Michael Carter, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear about Jaxton Dart, man. I still do.
We'll have time for Jaxton Dart. That's fine. Michael Carter, the reason why I think we should talk about Michael Carter is because he is facing the Bengals this week. They allow the most fantasy points to running backs, 5.34 yards per carry to running backs, second most receiving yards per game to running backs. Dan, would you have any confidence starting Michael Carter in your fantasy championship against the Cincinnati Bengals?
Confidence? No. But will I do it? Possibly. I'm getting a great matchup. Though this Atlanta, I thought, would be a nice offensive explosion type game. And the second half was like no offense whatsoever by either team. Yeah, I think I could roll him in there as a flex, as a back end flex, and just hope, you get the volume. You're facing the great matchup against the Bengals defense. Yeah, I think I'm good with it.
He had 11 carries. The problem is DeMercado and Corey Kiner combined for 11 carries.
Yeah, the Kiner thing is interesting. The Kiner thing's a little scary.
I think he's going to be their goal line back if they get down there. It's just a hunch.
Kiner will be.
But I never loved Michael Carter, this year because of his.
You know what? I take it back. I'm out on Carter. He's not
don't
starting.
Be out on him.
No, he's not starting. He's not starting. I have this.
He had a lot of catches, though. I don't know what the heck happened to the catches. It's very weird. I was expecting 4 catches.
It's over. He's going to get Kiner to the goal line. It's over.
Kiner is big, and I think he makes more sense at the goal line. But it's just a hunch.
It's about to get Kiner at the goal line. We don't need that.
You know what Kider's going to be? He's going to be the dozer.
Kider's 5'9", 209 pounds.
Yeah, just thick. He
runs really hard. It just cracked me up to hear him described as big.
Well, he's but 209 pounds for someone who's
a lot more than Michael Carter.
Yeah,
Michael Carter's tiny.
Yes,
yeah,
that's for sure.
So it's an interesting matchup. I wish his running back carry share had been bigger than 50%. But this was just a weird game. They had the ball for 24 minutes and 26 seconds. It just stunk offensively, and it was the first game all year where an Arizona running back didn't have a catch. Everything went to Elijah Higgins. Elijah Higgins killed fantasy in week 16. So it's basically what happened.
Did Corey Kiner get hurt maybe because he didn't play in the second half?
Who?
Corey Kiner.
I don't know. They didn't really. He basically just played on one drive. I mean, he got most of his work, I think, on one possession. And then they barely ran the ball in the second half. Maybe it was 2 possessions. I think it was 1. Can you? Yeah, you look that up.
Yeah, he didn't have a snap in the second half, which just seems weird.
All right. Well, that wraps up your 5 big things brought to you by Amazon Prime. Remember, Prime isn't just fast. It's your secret weapon for last-minute holiday wins. Forgot a gift for a friend or a family member? Need something for tonight's party? Prime gets it there quickly, turning last-minute panic into a smooth win. This season, you can count on Prime to deliver right when you need it most. Last-minute gifts delivered. It's on Prime. So you came to the right place if you want to hear about Jaxton Dart. Dan'll be all over it. So Jaxton Dart sunk season for Jacob. What did he throw for 33 yards?
33.
Something. Yeah. What was your takeaway, Dan?
I mean, obviously a big part of this was when you lose Andrew Thomas, your star left tackle, who's been every season Giants fans know about and play. When Andrew Thomas is on the field, they have a chance. When Andrew Thomas is not on the field, they have no chance. They also lost their center, and their left guard was inactive because he had the birth of his child. So they had a completely different offensive line, but that didn't seem to be why what happened to Dart happened to Dart. Because on the initial drive before Thomas got hurt, it was 9 runs, no pass attempts. What I really think happened, honestly, is Kafka coached a little scared in this game. And if I want to blame him for that, remains to be determined. I'm going to go through. I've watched most of the tape. I want to watch all of it before I decide that. But what I really think is Kafka believed that he didn't trust Dart to see it well post-snap.
Right.
What I mean by that is, look, Brian Flores has played 11 rookie quarterbacks as a defensive coordinator in the NFL level. He's 10-1 against rookie quarterbacks. Yeah. Rookie quarterbacks get obliterated by Brian Flores' defense because he is so disguised. He is the most disguised defensive coordinator in the entire NFL. He puts everyone at the line of scrimmage. I think I saw in my notes, 55% of the plays had like 6 or more players at the line of scrimmage on defense. And he dropped some, he blitzes some, and he just didn't trust, I don't think, Kafka Dart to see it well. So they relied on the run the first half. In the second half, they tried to let him throw a little bit, and the pressure got there, and the pass protection didn't hold up. It was really bad. It was really freaking ugly. One of the worst football games I've ever watched, in my opinion, as a Giants fan, honestly.
They have been in so many games that have been like that.
This was Joe Judge level bad. This was Jake Fromm level bad. We threw for 33 yards at him. How much worse does it get than that? You watch your football team throw for 33 freaking yards in a football game. Do you know how bad that is to watch? Do you understand how painful that is?
It's insane. Well, I don't understand the hiding Dart aspect of it because, like, Jesse Minter, Robert Saleh, Vance Joseph, Vic Fangio, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like he's done it against some of the absolute best.
Bro, this team's mojo is gone.
It's gone.
Since he's come back from the injury, it just hasn't been.
It's just gone.
It's gone. Without Andrew Thomas, forget it. Although I said yesterday, playing at Las Vegas next week, it's finally good weather, right? It's an indoor.
Yeah, we were hoping.
He's had bad conditions recently.
Oh. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, Andrew Thomas is probably going to be out. We'll see. But I expect, out of all things, at least Kafka to open up the playbook a little bit and let him throw the ball against the Raiders' bad defense.
The Thomas thing, that sucks. That makes sense. I didn't catch that he got hurt because all I did was watch Red Zone yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, they finally show the Giants. I haven't seen them at all, and they're like, "This is the first drop back of the game," and I'm like, "Oh
It's
no!"
like 5:43 in the second quarter.
It's literally, yeah. I've made a huge.
You're like, no, I have
mistake."
Dart starting somewhere. To be fair, Jacob, I warned you about this game. I did warn you. I doubt the Giants will get to 150 yards of total offense, and they did not get to 150. Did they even get to 100? I don't think they got to 150 yards.
Somebody in the chat said they picked up the Minnesota defense and they got them 22 points because of your call out. So
yeah, I did see that. You're welcome. I'm happy I helped you win your league. I'm sad that the Giants are this pathetic, disgusting team.
I've done something that I'm so proud of, but
yeah.
Claire, do you think we could get this on the show?
Let's see it.
Oh, here we go. You said Brian Flores, the best that disguises. So let's go ahead and show you some of the tape.
What's this gonna be?
Some of the tape from yesterday. Claire, you can fire it up there. Go ahead. There it is.
Such a dad joke.
I said to ChatGPT, make a picture of Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores wearing a disguise.
What'd you type that into?
ChatGPT.
Oh God, this is such a dad joke.
He's got like fake hair, and he's got the nose glasses combo. And he's got a big mustache. It's really, I'm really proud of this. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Good job. Good job using ChatGPT.
Have you guys seen Master of Disguise? It's a really, really stupid movie.
No.
Oh
no, Master of Disguise.
Never heard of it.
So, maybe
Dana Carvey.
I don't think so.
Never heard of it.
I don't think so.
It's
Johnny Airports. Sorry, go ahead, Jacob.
No, I don't pay. I have the free version of ChatGPT.
Adam pays $9.90 and $9 a month for this.
I can only
one
do
final shout out beyond the box score shout out though. Or football shout out. Trevor Lawrence did it again, baby. Against your defense. Should I bench him? Uh-oh, should I bench him? You don't bench Lawrence, baby. The guy is on fire. Liam Cohen is on fire. There's a lot of people that are in discussion for Coach of the Year. I think I will give it to Ben Johnson if the Bears get that 1 seed. But man, do I want to give it to Liam Cohen because I think he's working with so much less than any of Vrabel or Ben Johnson.
All right. Thank you. And and Patriots, great win for them last night. They're gonna be a tough out.
Drake May's the truth.
But
we don't know. Truth.
Yeah, but you know what? You really overlook a lot of flaws. One
Drake
flaw.
May?
He's got to clean up the turnovers.
Oh
he had
my God, dude!
He had a pick and a fumble.
Oh my God, it's disgusting.
Too many turnovers.
Dude threw for 380.
Look at his last 7
They
games.
were down by 10, and he dropped a perfect dime ball to Kyle Williams. He also dropped a perfect dime ball to Booty that he inexplicably dropped.
Shooting that, but you're too many turnovers.
Every time he drops back, he looks comfortable. He looks like he knows where he's going with the football. He looks like he's progressing through his reads. He is the truth. We are going to be talking about him for the next 10 years as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
I agree.
Yes.
But he's turning the ball over too much lately.
I see both your points. Like Drake makes some plays, especially in this past game. There were a few plays where I was like, oh boy. And I wonder if we might run into a playoff moment where that happens a few too many times and it's like, oh crap, lost the game because of that.
He has 6 interceptions and 5 fumbles in his last 8 games. That's too many.
Yeah, Josh Allen did that too for a while.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm just saying, you see no flaws.
I'm not worried.
You're Smith.
He's a perfect quarterback prospect. I'm not worried.
Okay, we gotta go. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Fantasy Football Today. See ya.